This video is going to be helpful for all the students who are preparing themselves for SLST exam and the other students who are preparing themselves for the other university exams and other competitive exams based on English, and obviously the students who are in class 12 in the board of West Bengal Council of Higher Secondary Education, and all the students who have English as their subject, who are literature enthusiasts, all would be benefited by this video more or less. So today I'm going to talk about a very popular sonnet, that is sonnet number 18, or which is also known as Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, which is composed by William Shakespeare, who is known primarily or basically as a dramatist, but apart from being a dramatist, he is a poet too, a sonneteer too, as he composed many poems and he composed a huge variety or a great range of sonnets in which there are 154 sonnets. Anyways, today I am going to talk about the sonnet, as I have already said, that is sonnet 18, or Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day. And though already many videos are on YouTube, you might have heard them, but today I am going to give you some key factors, essential ingredients or essence from this poem, which is going to be so unique, or you would come to know some unique information and explanation about the poem today. So if you have already covered up this one, I would request you again to go through this poem along with me, and you would like it. So first of all, what we should keep in our mind is that the poet William Shakespeare, the sonneteer, what he firmly believes is that the beauty that his friend possesses, as we know that the poem is dedicated to a friend of Shakespeare. Who is this friend? It is completely ambiguous. The identity of the friend has not been disclosed, and we know a lot about it, that who are the probable persons the sonnet has been dedicated to. I won't talk much about this, as we all know that it's a matter of dispute, as some of the scholars have also said. They have also went to the extent of saying that William Shakespeare has done this deliberately to create a publicity turn or to create curiosity among the readers. So it's a matter of dispute and or a conflict, but what we all know, we all agree to, is that the poet, that is the sonneteer, that is William Shakespeare, has written this sonnet or composed this sonnet about his friend and his beauty. And William Shakespeare is quite sure, he firmly believes in a fact that the beauty that his friend possesses is something uncomparable. First of all, whenever you are going to study or read this poem, go through this poem, the first thing that you should keep clearly in your mind, you should set clearly in your mind, is the poet's belief. What's that? That is that the poet believes that the beauty that his friend possesses, this is something uncomparable. That means his friend's beauty is not comparable to anything, living or dead. So the poet believes that his friend possesses a beauty, and this beauty is uncomparable. It's so unique. This is the first thing you should keep in your mind while going through this poem. And the poem, this very poem, begins with a question. The question is, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Though it begins apparently with a question, it's a question only apparently. Apparently it looks like a question, but this is not a question at all, because the poet has not thrown the question, has not raised the question in order to have an answer. By this question, the poet is not asking for any permission from his friend. Actually, by saying this, that shall I compare thee to a summer's day, the poet wants to say that, how can I compare thee to a summer's day? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? That means, how can I compare thee to a summer's day? As our near and dear ones, they often say us that, how can I be angry with you? That means they directly say that, they say like, can I be angry with you? Shall I be angry with you? they does not ask for a permission. They do not ask for a permission. By saying that, shall I be angry with you? They mean to say that they can never be angry with us because they are our near and dear ones, like our parents. So, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Through this question, the poet actually wants to mean the opposite of it. That is, I can never be angry. I can never compare thee to a summer's day. So the poet thinks that he cannot bring a comparison in between a summer's day and his friend's beauty. There are other seasons too. Then why does the poet has made a mention of a summer's day? Because the season summer, though is so annoying for us, for people like us who are living in Indian subcontinent mainly, but the same season summer is so soothing, so embalming to those people who are living in the countries where winter is the prime season. So for them, winter is a season of beauty, charm. That's why he has brought the two things together in the same platform for the sake of comparison. But the poet wants to clear one thing, that he doesn't want to compare these two things. So the poet says that, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? That means the poet cannot compare his friend's beauty as well as his friend to a summer's day. Why? Here comes the explanation. Because thou art more lovely and more temperate. Because you are more lovely and more temperate. You are more lovely and more temperate. You are more beautiful, more charming, more enchanting in comparison with a summer day. Whenever you go through a single line, you should also go for the parallel meaning. And here the parallel meanings are all there side by side. Thou art more lovely and more temperate. So here comes the explanation that why I can't compare you with a summer's day. Because you are more beautiful and more temperate. You are more charming. And the third line, rough winds do shake the darling birds of May. How can I compare you with a summer's day? A summer's day is undoubtedly beautiful. It's true, undeniably it's true that a summer's day is beautiful. But which is beautiful? A summer day which is beautiful, there is harshness, there is cruelty. So how can I compare with something which is beautiful yet there is cruelty in it? What is the cruelty? What is the touch of cruelty and harshness? That in the same summer, the summer which is beautiful, in the same summer, sometimes the rough winds, the unpleasant winds, obviously which is not a breeze, that comes and takes away the darling birds of May, the birds which are about to bloom, those birds which have not yet bloomed, which are darling, that means tender, beautiful, delicate. Those birds are being thrown away, are being shaken by the wind in the same season. So a season which is beautiful but which contains harshness in it, toughness, roughness within it, it does not deserve to have a comparison with you. Actually, in this stanza or throughout the poem, the poet is actually counting the various demerits which a summer day or the season of summer has. And he has started counting these demerits, these shortcomings in a summer day. So obviously a season which has shortcomings in it, which has various demerits and defects and disputes in it, the poet obviously won't want to have a comparison in between them, in between such a season and his friend's beauty as well as his friend. The third demerit that the poet has made a mention of is, I'm quoting the line from the poem, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. This is the fourth line of the poem. And I would ask you to sit with a book while you are listening to this video. And what is the other demerit of a summer's day? A summer's lease hath all too short a date. That means summer stays in the cycle of season for a very short period of time, for a very short duration. Summer's lease means lease stands for duration. summer stays in nature for a very short period of time. Here you should keep in your mind that I am saying this in context of those countries where summer is the prime season. Summer is not the prime season, winter is the prime season. And in those countries, winter remains in the season for a long time, and most of the time as it is the prime season, but summer stays there for a very short duration of time. So the poet says that as summer has a very short duration in nature, in the cycle of season, so summer is something which is so transitory, which does not last longer, which have a short lifespan. How can I compare your beauty with a summer's day? So this is the actual meaning, and here you will find a parallel meaning. What is the parallel meaning? The parallel meaning is that whereas summer's lease hath all too short a date, summer has a short duration in nature, the parallel meaning is you have eternal duration. Summer is transitory, but you are eternal. Always go for the side by side meaning, parallel meaning, which has been hinted, which has been suggested. Okay, now moving on to the next stanza. Another shortcomings, another drawback or another shortcoming or another demerit of sonnet, of summer season or a summer day. You may call it a summer day or you may call it the summer season, no problem. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines. Eye of heaven. The poet has not made a mention of the sun directly. What he has said is the eye of heaven. It's a roundabout way of expression when you are referring to something but not directly, but in a circumlocuted way. This is called circumlocution. As you know, circumlocution is a figure of speech, and questions often come from this, that which figure of speech has been used here. So who are preparing for whatever exam you are preparing yourself for, this information is going to be helpful, whatever I am saying here. So the poet is saying that sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines. Sometime the sun shines so brightly, but the same sun which once was shining so brightly, its gold complexion often gets dimmed whenever the sun gets overcast by the clouds. When we look at the rising sun, we can hardly believe that the same sun will disappear in darkness. Or how can the same sun which is shining so brightly, so radiantly, how can this sun be overcast or hidden or lapped under the patches of clouds? So the sun which shines so brightly, it cannot preserve its brightness. It gets disappeared. So something, the glow of which gets disappeared so easily, does not deserve to have a comparison with you, as its gold complexion gets dimmed. And now the parallel meaning. Whereas the sun's complexion, gold complexion, ray, brightness gets dimmed, your complexion never gets dimmed. You keeps on glittering, you keeps on shining. A very important line. Now, the third line of stanza 2. And every fair from fair sometime declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. Now the poet is thinking that we are living in the midst of nature, and this nature uses time as a mighty weapon to destroy everything. We are living in a world of flux and transience, where everything is transitory. Everything is subject to death and decay. A very important thing I am talking about, that everything is perishable. So now the thought which is tormenting the poet is now being haunted by a thought that we all are living in the midst of nature, where everything is transitory, where nature destroys everything, using time as a weapon. So nature destroys everything using time as a weapon. Everything is perishable. Everything gets destroyed. Everything is subject to death and decay. So in the midst of nature where everything is subject to death and decay, everything is perishable, how would he then be able to eternalize his friend's beauty as well as his friend and his identity? This thought haunts him. He is being haunted by this thought, tormented by this thought. So behind the composition, the poet had a definite intention. The poet had a definite intention behind the composition of this poem. What is that? The poet is actually here trying, or has actually tried, to defeat nature, law of nature, time, in order to eternalize his friend's beauty as well as his friend's identity. We can also go to the extent of saying that in this poem we find the poet at a state of war against nature. The nature which is using time to perish and destroy everything. So this poem can also be seen as a war in between nature and the poet. Nature versus the poet. Nature is perishing everything in the midst of it, whatever is there in the midst of it, using time as its weapon. And on the other hand, the poet is combating with nature. The poet is fighting with nature, taking his pen, his writing capability as a weapon. So as we all know that pen is mightier than sword, so let's see who wins in the long run. So here I can say you that it's a new explanation, it's a unique explanation that you have got right now. And if you have had this explanation also, then it's okay, you are fortunate enough. So the poet is saying that every fair from fair sometime declines. This is the law of nature, that every fair from fair sometime declines. Every fair from fair. This from fair is something greater and every fair is something smaller. Let's take the example of a flower. What makes the flower is the from fair. From fair stands for flower. Let's assume this. So what makes a flower beautiful? The color. So I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. Actually, it's a load shedding, a power cut here. Yet we will continue our discussion. As I was just saying, that every fair from fair sometime declines. So let's assume every fair from fair. Let's assume from fair as a flower. That what makes a flower beautiful? Its color, its petals makes a flower beautiful. So the flower, which is as a whole beautiful, it starts losing its beauty day by day, as the petals, they start getting dark day by day, and its color that also starts getting fade day by day. So thus every fair start getting away from the main object of beauty, that is from fair, day by day. So it is the law of nature that everything that is fair or beautiful, it starts losing its beauty or fairness with the march of time. So it happens as per the law of nature or as per the destiny. Whether you call it the destiny or you call it the nature's law, it's the same thing here. And these two things, which is ultimately the one thing, it is untrimmable. You can't change the law of nature. You can't change the law of change. So what the poet means to say, that by chance, whether you call it luck or destiny or fortune, or whether you call it the law of nature, as per this law, according to this law, everything gets changed. Every beautiful thing with the march of time gets older and gets closer to destruction. Everything gets perished. So in this world, everything where everything is perishable, everything is subject to death and decay. How would he eternalize his friend's beauty? Hope you can hear my words properly here. So the poet is confident enough. The poet has confidence in his power of pen, in his power of verse, in his writing capacity. He believes in his power of verse, that is his work, his poetry. And that's why the poet is assuring his friend that, but thy eternal summer shall not fade. That means your beauty shall remain unfed. Nothing will occur, nothing will happen to your beauty. In the same world where everything is perishable, everything is subject to death and decay, in the same world I will do such a thing that I would eternalize your beauty. And your summer, your eternal summer shall not fade. So here a question comes that what is eternal summer? Here eternal summer means the beauty of his friend. Here the word summer has been used as a synonym of beauty. So here eternal summer means the beauty of his friend. And why has it been called eternal? Because the poet believes that the beauty that his friend possesses, that is not transitory, that is eternal, that will never come to an end. That's the thing. Okay. Now I am at the first line of the third stanza. So the poet is saying that, but thy eternal summer shall not fade, no lost possession of that fair thou owest. And the poet is also saying firmly, he is stating firmly that the beauty which you possesses, beauty is a possession of his friend, a treasure of his friend, the beauty that you possesses, or what is your possession, that is your beauty, the beauty that you have owned, you will never lose it. You will never lose your possession. What it means to say that, dear friend, the beauty that you have as your possession, you will never lose it. Nor shall death brag, thou wanderest in his shade. The poet is so confident that he is challenging death also. That you, death, here death has been personified. That death that has a pride in its power, that brags everywhere, that nothing can stand in front of him. He takes away everything and everyone under its grasp or shadow, and death consumes it. The same death can't cause any harm to you. The death that brags everywhere, that shows its power, its pride, that none can stand in front of me. I will grasp and consume everything. The same death won't be able to cause any harm to you. It won't be able to take you under its shade or shadow. Your existence will remain unaffected by death. Whether you call it death, decay, destruction, it's the same thing, which is all caused by the law of nature. Whether you call it nature's changing course or chance. Here chance means not chance or opportunity. Here chance means luck, destiny, or fortune, whatever you call it. So how would the poet do so? How would the poet eternalize his friend's beauty and his identity? When in eternal lines to time thou growest. Because I would mention you and of your beauty. I would make a mention of you and of your beauty, unparalleled beauty, in the eternal lines of my verse, eternal lines of my poem, eternal lines of my verse. And the poet has called his verse eternal. Why and how? Here comes the explanation in the concluding couplet, that so long as man can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. The poet means to say that as long as man will exist on earth, they will breathe in, they will see, they will be in a state of breathing. That means they will survive and live, and they will be in a state of seeing. They will keep on seeing or studying the poetry or the sonnet or literature. As long as human beings would exist and they will study, they will read literature, they will read poetry. So long lives this and give life to thee. So long my verse will remain alive and it will give you life. It will give you life. You will keep on existing, you will keep on living through the eternal lines of my verse, as long as human beings will stay on earth. So this is how he has eternalized his friend's beauty as well as his friend's identity in the through the lines of his verse. So just like that of think of the portrait of Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa, obviously she has died, or she does not exist morally, physically, but Mona Lisa has been eternal. The portrait of Mona Lisa, her beauty, her identity have been eternalized through the portrait made by Leonardo da Vinci. So as Leonardo da Vinci, the creator, has made Mona Lisa, the creation, eternal through his power of art, drawing, painting, in the same way here William Shakespeare, the creator, has made his friend's beauty eternal. Hope you have liked it and it would be helpful for you, and other informative videos dealing with MCQ questions are on the way. Who are meeting me for the first time, please subscribe the channel and share with your friends, and do comment what you think about it. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching.